Hello, everyone. Welcome again. Today we're going to talk about positional game and its training in football, soccer, and we're going to try to do it briefly, as I always say, in a short manner, as short as we can, so that the video will not be so long and so boring. It's not tedious, so tedious. So we're going to talk about positional games. So positional games, or position game, as some people call it, also has its origin in Spain, precisely through Fútbol Club Barcelona and later in Spanish youth and senior select teams that won several European championships and World Cup. It is based in controlling the opponent, the game, the rhythm of play, and in generating positional advantages that will allow our team to generate spaces that will later be occupied by our footballers, creating danger and scoring situations in the opponent's goal. When in possession of the ball, our players will be placed in different horizontal and vertical lanes in width as well as in depth, okay? And what we mean by horizontal and vertical lanes, or lines also it could be, okay, is basically that when a player has the possession of the ball, he has to have a lot of teammates on different lines. So if you see the team like from a view of airplane view or from the top of the pitch, you will see many many lines where he can pass the ball to, because if they are on the same line horizontally and vertically, it will be easier for a player, just one player, to occupy at least two lines or one line, so he will be able to defend two players. Okay, from a positional playing perspective, ball possession is not seen as an objective per se, right? But rather in a way to move the opponent and take advantage and occupy these spaces that are generated. So basically what we're going to do, I think many people have read or seen press conferences of Guardiola talking about this, that the objective is not the possession by itself, but is rather a means to move the opponent to create space or take advantage of the space that's created, okay? Even though many people keep insisting in the same thing, it is not related to subjective reasons like playing aesthetically nice, but rather to contra-tactical reasons that are based on being able to pressure immediately after losing the ball. Because if the footballers are far from each other, it will be impossible to pressure immediately with many players and gain it back. So, in other words, what we're talking about what we mean by this is that the way we're going to attack, if we do it by giving long passes, we will not be able to pressure immediately after losing the ball with many players. Maybe we'll be able to pressure with two players, or with one player, or with three players, but we will not be able to pressure after losing the ball immediately with 7 or 8 or 9. Okay, so it is very important that for us, according to positional play, we're always going to attack, okay, moving as a block, and always thinking that in the moment of losing the ball, because when we lose the ball, we will be able to pressure and gain it back immediately and counterattack or attack again, okay? And as we know, according to big data, most of the goals are scored after regaining possession of the ball immediately. So this is extremely important in modern football, modern soccer, okay? Important things to take into consideration. Positional play is based on a systemic view of the game. So it's training and methodology where attacking and defending cannot be separated. Okay, so as we talked before, we have 4 moments or phases in the game, but these moments or phases, we train them always in the sessions, and we're always training the change from one to another, okay? How we defend will condition the way we will attack, and how we attack will condition the way we will defend, okay? So one of its origins can be found, according to Professor Francisco Ceirulo. He's a famous physical trainer for Fútbol Club Barcelona for several decades, okay? And he says, or he mentions that is based on handball, the sport, okay? Where when you attack as a block. You attack with many players at the same time. It is not related, as mentioned earlier, to subjective aspects of the game, like jogo bonito, as the Brazilians would say, okay, to play nice or to play nicely, but rather to contra-tactical reasons, okay? And that contra-tactical, what we mean is a tactical response to an earlier one done by an opponent, okay? So we have a plan A, and the opponent has an answer for that plan A. So we offer a plan B, which is like a contra-tactical response to what the opponent is offering us. Okay. It also has its origin in the creator of El Método Barça, which is a famous Spanish coach. I learned about him when I worked in Las Palmas, because our sport director had worked in Barcelona. He was the one that mentioned him to me, Laureano Ruiz. Okay, where the pitch is divided in 3 sectors, and according to each one, when our team is in possession of the ball, the footballers will have different behavior, and our team will try to progress from one sector to the other by different rhythms and traveling together. Okay, so what we mean by the rhythm of play and different rhythms is the rhythm of the ball. Okay, how quickly the ball will move. This is very important in positional play, because as I mentioned before, we're going to be trying to move the opponent from one side to the other. So the rhythm of us moving the ball from one side to the other, okay, is very important. It's very relevant. Okay, and also traveling together, which is a principle of Barcelona, which they call in Spanish viajar juntos. Okay. Okay, now continue with this. The positional game allows that in the team, the players, positions, and the ball will travel together, will move all at once. They all progress together to attack and defend. The team is a block. After losing the ball, the team is all together. The attacking way conditions the way we'll defend. Okay, so if we, like I mentioned before, if we defend with the team too close to each other, okay, and we are not ready to, when we steal the ball, either go to attacking phase or go to counter-attacking phase, most probably the other team, if they do have good positional play, they will steal the ball immediately after we gain it. I remember this happened in a game of my national team, Uruguay versus Spain, where this would happen constantly. Okay, the Spanish would have a very good positional game, so the national team of Uruguay would steal the ball because they would have a lot of players concentrated in the space. But the problem is that they would have too many players close to each other, so they will not be able to progress with the ball, and they will lose it immediately. Okay, so as I mentioned here, the Spanish team was they were very aware that they will probably lose the ball, but they will be able to gain it very quickly back. Okay, so this is thinking of the game as a whole. Okay, so we will try to carry an aggressive pressure immediately after losing the ball in less than 6 seconds in offensive sectors in your opponent's goal. Okay, so remember, the main thing is that we see the game as a whole, we see the game as one, and the way we attack will condition the way we defend, and the way we defend will condition the way we attack. Okay, so this is very important, and in order to have a good positional play, a good positional game, it's very important to develop it for the players to understand this. Okay, objectives in positional game and positional play: width to choose attacking lanes. When we're looking for width, the rhythm will be a little bit slower because we're looking for security on the passes and choosing where we're going to, which lane we're going to attack through. Okay, depth to add speed to those attacking situations where the space is generated or we find the free space on whatever lane. Rhythm of play or speed of the ball will be mid to high. Okay, mid, okay, will be because we're building up from the back. Okay, and we're not risking the ball. And high when we find, like I said, the space where we're going to penetrate. Long possession football, okay, long possessions, creation of several geometrical shapes, constant support to the ball carrier, okay, long and short passing, mobility according to the space on the pitch, correct positioning, very good controls, long and short passing, like I mentioned before, have many passing lanes, having width and depth in the pitch, progress or travel together from each sector. Okay, so we're going to be looking to progress from one sector to the other one, okay, from the defensive to the intermediate, and from the intermediate to the offensive sector. Give support to the teammate in possession of the ball, variation in type of passes, concentration in all actions, not only offensive but defensive ones, that's a mistake, intensity on offense and defense, and immediate pressure after losing the ball. Okay, so these are the main objectives, okay? and or the most basic ones. And the basic concepts of positional game: give passes to closer teammate to look for the farther one after. Okay, so we're going to give a short pass to a teammate, he might give it back, and then we're going to look behind. Okay, positioning of the players on different lanes, horizontally and vertically, as I mentioned before. Width of the players, wings and fullbacks that will be able to have inside interior game. Okay, so the fullbacks and the wings are going to try to open up the space so we can penetrate or find lanes through the inside, which is the closest way to the goal, the opposing goal. Play between lines, creation of diamonds and triangles to be able to move the ball. Distract the opponent to appear and disappear. This will be the midfielders, okay, in order to generate free space. Width of exterior positions with fullbacks and wings helps to create interior corridors or lanes. Concepts like free man, third man, second man, and other concepts have special importance. Offer different lines to the ball carrier. Generate numerical superiority behind the first line of pressure. The importance of looking far to later play near, or third man, for example, and play second. And positional, numerical, socio-affective, and qualitative superiorities, like we mentioned in many videos before, okay? Now, the tools for its training, that's also a mistake. The tools for its training, we're going to use rondos, we're going to use mobile rondos, we're going to use positional games, possession exercises, passing exercises, games with constraints, exercises where we have organizational changes. Okay, so it's very important. We're going to always have rondos, possessions, these type of global exercises where our team will organize, disorganize, organize again. Okay, either changing from defensive organization to offensive organization or transition, or the opposite, okay? So we're always going to be trying to create these situations for our team. And exercises where we progress from one sector to the other, okay, which is called viajar juntos, travel together. And also, very important, longer amount of passes or longer possession football. So we want to have good positional play. We have to explain to our players that our objective is longer possession football and more patience on the ball, okay? And basically training, okay? Now, as far as the tools that you can use simple rondos. Remember that in simple rondos, you're going to have possession of the ball. You're going to be working technique, of course. You're going to be working body positioning. You're going to be working passing and moving after you pass the ball to support, okay? You're going to be working the speed on the ball. You're going to be working many technical things, okay? And also you're going to be working the change of moment, okay, or change of phase, from losing to attacking, from attacking to gaining the ball again. So these are very important and very basic. Here we have a mobile rondo, okay? A mobile is, you can use several spaces. You can use 2, you can use 3, you can use 4 spaces. Remember that after a certain amount of passes, we change to another space, and we're always creating a 4 versus 2, okay? Very basic one, okay? This is a very simple mobile rondo. Of course, you can come up, or you can see in many books, magazines, and videos, there are a lot of variations on this type of exercises. But basically, we're going to work using these type of exercises of rondos, where we're going to have basic rondos, and when we can progress into moving rondos or mobile rondos, where we're going to be moved through different spaces, okay? Here we have another variation, okay? And this one is a 5 versus 2. Where after a certain amount of passes, we change sides. If the 2 steal the ball, they get the ball out of pressure and change to the other square and reorganize there, okay? So it's the same. See here, they steal the ball and they're organizing in the offensive organization, okay? Always, working with what we mentioned before. Organizing, disorganizing, organizing again, okay? And long possession football, technical aspects. And then we're going to work here, for example, in a possession exercise, where it's not so much positional, because there isn't, but you can add, if you want, for this exercises, more positional play. In this case, it's not, but you can if you want, okay? And here's just a possession exercise with 3 players as support. After a certain amount of passes, they change and they move. It's a mobile possession exercise, okay? And if the green steal the ball, you can either change or you can maintain possession and change again, however you prefer, okay? So we're always trying to create the constraints and the rules according to what we're trying to see, what we're trying to create in the exercise. Okay, here, this exercise, we're gonna have 5 jokers that are on white, simulating the 2 central defenders. If you look, you're gonna see that the green team and the whites create a 4-3-3, and they have 2 supporting players on the last lane, okay, from right to left. So the 2 white players will be the 2 fullbacks, 2 center backs. The 2 greens on the outside will be the 2 fullbacks, the center midfielder, okay, and then they will have 2 offensive midfielders, the green and a white, and then 2 wings, and they have actually 2 forwards instead of 1 forward. But the main idea is to have the same structure. This is a positional exercise, okay? And here the main idea is for the fullbacks, the center backs, to what we call fijar. Fijar in Spanish means that you're gonna dribble the ball until one of the defenders comes close or near the player that has the ball, and just then he will pass the ball, or he will go into the following space and create numerical superiority and find the free man. So we're trying to encourage the central defenders to eliminate or fijar one defender of the opponent's team, okay, so that after the ball, in front of the ball, we will have either numerical equality at least, okay, or maybe at least 1 less player, okay. So the white defender will dribble until a blue player will come out, and then he will pass the ball, okay. Now, as soon as the other team gets the ball, again, the same situation, and the white joker in the middle will move to the opposing lane, so he will not be able to he's not permitted to receive the ball in the following lane, okay. So we're always trying to create constraints. You can do this with 6 jokers also, okay. You can do it with 5 jokers. You can do it with 4, okay. However you prefer, however players, it will depend on how many players you have. But the main idea of these exercises is to create context, okay, where the players will do what they will do in the matches, okay. Here we have a positional exercise, okay. We're gonna have 3 teams of 6 players. If you see the blue team from left to right, okay, with the red team, they will have a 4-3-3 structure, but with 2 forwards instead of 1, okay. And the red team from the right to left, it's the same thing with the blues, okay. And this is a very simple positional exercise where they just try to maintain the ball, keep the ball, okay. And after a certain amount of passes, they change. The green team always presses with 4 players in the offensive lane, or you can do it with 3 if you want, okay? Or you can do it with 5 and leave 1, or you can have 4 pressing and 1 in the mid zone and 1 in the back, okay? However you prefer. After losing the ball, quick reorganization again. They have to move very quickly. We will not stop, okay? Play with the other team that didn't lose the ball, and immediately reorganize. And so the same thing will do, the other team will do the same thing, okay? So this always creating context where your players and your team is going to do what you prefer, okay? Okay, the next example is an exercise where, again, we're going to have a structured positional exercise, and this has a lot of variations. What we're going to try to do is always create numerical superiority, at least +1, okay, in each zone. Okay, so the central midfielder will play in the first zone, the green one. So here we will have a 5v3. In the middle zone, we will have a 4v3. And in the last zone, actually, you have a 1v4, but then we will create a 5v4. So always creating numerical superiority on each zone, okay? And here we will start working, again, same thing, okay? As the team advances, okay, we're supposed to move together, and the same thing. The center midfielder drops in, create a 5v4, a 5v3, I'm sorry, and again a 5v4 on the last zone. Okay, so always creating situations and context so that your team, of course, will see these situations in a real game. Another very important thing is that to create constraints where they have to, if you want to have a good positional game, you have to create constraints where your team has to at least make 8 or 10 passes before attacking the goal, because you want to do it collectively so that they attack as a block. Okay, so we're going to create all types of constraints where there's going to be a sequence of long passes, okay, where they're gonna make at least between 8 and 12 passes in order for them to make the goal, so that they will attack as a block, okay, and immediately after losing the ball, I remember Guardiola used to use in Barcelona the 6-second rule, okay, which is after you lose the ball, immediately try to gain it back in 6 seconds. You can create constraints where they will do this. If this is your strategy, if your team is going to do this, you don't have to do this. This will depend on your strategy as a team, okay? And your playing model. So always recreating these situations where, according to your playing model, you will follow this, okay? Positional game, remember, is basically this, is having long possessions, attacking as a block, okay? Very attacking, thinking that you're going to lose the ball. So in order, when you lose it, immediately you will press and try to gain it back and attack again. And you will try to do it as close as possible to the opponent's goal, okay? This is the main idea of positional game. And when we are defending, the same thing. We are defending, but we are thinking of attacking. So it's not just that we are defending, okay? So you have to train this, that the players will be able to have this very clear through repetitions. Okay, this will take maybe a while for them to really recognize it and be able to do it without thinking. But after a certain time, they will be able to do this. It's not impossible. Okay, this is not something that it's so impossible to do. It is trainable. It is teachable, and the thing is, you have to do it in a manner that they are doing it pre-consciously, and they do it in all different types of situations where they're changing from attack to defense very quickly. Where they're attacking, they're thinking that they're going to lose the ball, and when they're defending, they're thinking they're going to gain it. Okay, and in situations where they move, organize and disorganize and organize again very quickly. These are the main aspects. Okay. I hope you liked the video. I don't know if it was very complicated for some young coaches. Maybe it could be a little bit complicated. If you have any questions, any doubts, or any suggestions, please write to me. In the first slide, you have my email. And I hope to see you again. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.